turns the corner, gets the equalizer.
Big hit, how about that?
How do you like that? Stops the first penalty kick he sees.
It's loose in front of the goal cage, and it's put in! Oh my.
She's going to take another shot, and it's into the back of the net.
Once again, Patriot League champions.
On an overcast autumn afternoon here in Boston, Massachusetts, the 2018 Patriot League Women's Soccer Playoffs are heating up, with Boston University taking on Army West Point in tonight's matchup. Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to Boston University. I am Brady Gardner alongside Josh Rothstein here for the Patriot League Network, and it is a good one tonight, BU against Army. And we'll start with the host, Josh. BU has been very strong on offense all year long, and this all starts from that depth that they have in the attacking positions.
Yeah, you know, in the Patriot League tournament, teams are going to try and shut down the other opposition team's best player. That's Anna Halford for BU. So it's a good time for McKenna Doyle, who has 3 goals in the season, to step up and sort of lead the line, with Halford being trying to be shut down by the opposition.
And then looking at that opposition, you've got a great goalkeeper in Sydney Casalia, who's done a great job all year long of keeping it solid in the back for Army.
Yeah, Army is a big underdog here this afternoon. There's no doubt about that. So they're going to have to get their best performance from their star sophomore goalie, Casara. And she has 9 shutouts on the season, so they're going to need a big performance from her to shut down this potent BU attack.
Yeah, and you talk about, the upset that they're trying to pull here tonight. They got one earlier this week against Navy in a 1-0 victory that was won in double overtime by the Black Knights' Erin Johns.
Yeah, it was John's 3rd goal of the season. None bigger. A bit of a confusion in the box. A free kick kind of just fell to her feet. She didn't make any mistake pouncing on it and firing Army into the Patriot League semifinals.
Well, we've had 2 games here in the postseason and 2 upsets, with both Army and Lehigh prevailing in the quarterfinal matchups. And we'll see if they'll be able to do it again here today, as we have 2 semifinals to shape up for the final game later this week that will be moving on one of these 2 teams. And then looking at this individual matchup, some stats on your mind.
Yeah, BU and Army, they both excel at keeping the ball out of their own net. Tops in the Patriot Leagues in shutouts with 10 and 9 respectively. Army on top with 10, so goals are going to be hard to come by this afternoon.
Well, both teams are playing for their playoff lives here today. It's going to be a good one. Kickoff is next here on the Patriot League Network on Stadium. 68 degrees and cloudy here as we set for kickoff. Overcast skies as it has been all day long, but the rain has stayed away for the most part. We'll see if it continues here as this game gets underway. Once again, I am Brady Gardner alongside Josh Rothstein. And Josh, this is a underdog Army side, but they're carrying some momentum and they're looking to make an impact here against the favored Terriers.
For sure, big win the other day against the military rivals in Navy, and they were able to come out with a victory in double overtime. We mentioned it in the open. Morgan Walsh getting the start. She leads the Army in goals this year. We mentioned the goalkeeper Casella. In the open, she's going to have to play a big part along with that Army defense.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, BU unbeaten since September 13th. That's 8-0-2 their last 10 games, and that put them to the top of the Patriot League.
Yeah, Nancy Feldman, she's kind of alternated between a couple goalies in the latter half of the Patriot League season. She went with the freshman Morgan Messner today over Amanda Fay, the sophomore. They both played in almost half the games, but the freshman gets the nod.
That's right, 2 very even goalkeepers who have kind of battled for that spot all year long here, as Messner gets the nod. And meanwhile, looking at this Army side, we talked about the goalkeeper Sydney Casalia having a standout sophomore campaign, but also other contributors on that team who have had quite a year themselves. We mentioned Erin Johns, the goal scorer, one of their leading attacking weapons. And then Morgan Walsh, another sophomore, has also come in with the goal. She's got 4 on the season. She'll look to add to that today. She is also in that Black Knight starting 11. Just moments away from kickoff now as the teams finish off their pregame huddles.
Look for BU to get off quickly. They're going to try and take it to this Army team, who's going to try and sit back, try and absorb some pressure, as they're known to do. Very defensive setup from first-year coach Adrian Blewett. You'd expect most of the possession to be with BU, but Army will start it off.
Both teams, at least to start, looking to line up in the 4-4-2 formation. Fairly common in college soccer, and we are underway. The Boston University Terriers going left to right in the whites. And then meanwhile, the Army West Point Black Knights in the black uniforms, right to left. Early throw in for the Terriers. Trying to spark Doyle down the sideline. Doyle, our player to watch on the night. 2 goals, 2 assists, as Josh mentioned earlier. A player that they'll really be looking to provide some secondary attacks here, knowing Anna Helferty is going to get a lot of attention from these Black Knights. Back pass to Casalia, who will clear. And BU already establishing some offensive zone time, less than a minute in here.
Yeah, Halford, you can already tell she has someone on her back at every moment. They're not going to let her slip through.
Long shot. Doesn't do too much to challenge Casalia.
Army's going to want to have someone else other than Halford beat them. If they can negate her, they think they'd have a good chance, and I would have to agree. If they can negate BU's best player, they'll certainly have their punching chance on these counter attacks. They're going to try and allow BU to absorb pressure, allow BU to pressure rather, and have them commit more ladies forward into some attacks, which may leave them exposed at the back.
Well, a lot of action coming on the left side in these opening moments of the game, as we see Helferty now send one forward. Almost had a runner there.
Just a little bit too strong for Kelli Harris to latch onto.
Harris, a senior, getting the start up top. As Casalia is going to distribute now, took a deflection off of Doyle it was, trying to challenge the keeper. Now Army will try to play it out of the back. Like you mentioned, this game might be expected for Army to be coming with a tactic of a counterattack, knowing BU is going to have the talent advantage. We've seen all season this BU team, once they get into a groove, they're difficult to stop, and Army just trying to find some holes when they get the opportunities. BU wins the ball in the midfield, but won back by the Black Knights. Little head tennis going on now as it reaches the far sideline. And Doyle chases, but once again back to Casalia. Army having to retreat back to their goalkeeper quite a bit here in the first 3 minutes of this game.
And when your goalkeeper has the most touches of any other team member, it's a true sign that you've been on the back foot, and that's really not what you want to see from Army right there. A misplayed pass with no pressure. Just a chance for Army to regain themselves, get some composure, get a foot in the game, but BU have it right back with the misguided pass.
It was Sydney Witham, the senior captain and center back, directing traffic back there, but unable to find a fellow Black Knight with her pass, as a deflection will mean a BU throw in here in dangerous territory. It's Libby Clausen, the senior defender, over to take it. And now you see numbers being committed forward for the Terriers. It's Taylor Cofton providing the pressure from BU. The freshman has had quite a season here, her first campaign with the Terriers, as they look for a run through. Ball into the middle, and it's cut out well.
Yeah, Taylor Cofton receiving an honor before the game. Rookie of the Year in the Patriot League.
Libby Clausen trying to find someone. Plays it back now. That's Royce Light. Far side, Pietra Sweeney. Sweeney, one of the unsung heroes, if you will, of this BU squad. The only player to start in all 19 matches for the squad in the regular season. She's a senior leader in the back. Also popped up with 2 assists during the year. Patrolling the left side very well.
Definitely someone Coach Feldman leans on to anchor this back line. It's been very strong throughout most of the season.
Nothing doing on the long ball in. Once again, Casalia finds it in her hands. Sophomore netminder. Had possession of the ball quite a bit so far, but nothing to really threaten her net. Long ball bounces. It's dealt with well by Light. Now played back in. Looking for someone on the left flank, but no one there. Now played up. That's Doyle who takes it down nicely, and BU could be on the counter here. Plays it back through for Doyle. Keeper's going to challenge. Doyle gets there first. Ball in. And it's cleared off the post by the defender. What a play in the back there. Number 22, Morgan Walsh, the sophomore, coming across to make the desperation save and keep this game level.
Coming all the way back from midfield to save what would have been a goal. It was really well worked by BU. McKenna Doyle and Chelsea Churchill combining well, and a goal-saving clearance that it came off the post after she slid back. May have looked from up here, may have crossed the line, but the assistant on the near side not signaling, and what a clearance from Army.
Really was. McKenna Doyle winning the foot race to the ball nicely, as Casalia was caught out of position, but great recovery in the back from Walsh. Ball in on the corner kick now, dangerous, and it finds the top netting.
Yeah, that's I think what might go underrated there. The touch from Churchill, just one touch passing. Doyle got it into her. She had one touch to get rid of it, and the ball was perfectly weighted for Doyle. The goalkeeper came out, was never going to get there. She did all the right things, got around there, and just needed a little bit more, but she was able to get back for Army.
So Army needs to settle things down a little bit here after some tense moments. BU just lose possession out near midfield.
Mentioned Morgan Walsh as Army's leading scorer, and as she's doing it on the other end, keeping the game 0-0.
It's a great point. And those are the kind of efforts you need from your team when you're, kind of behind the. You're not the favorite to win, I should say. You got to get those efforts from everyone on the pitch. Good tackle there. Now coming inside along the end line, played dangerously, and it's cleared by the Terriers.
First real opportunity inside the BU box for Army. Rosenberger did well to get around Clausen on the right side, and able to feed a ball into the danger area, but BU was able to get it away.
Keely Rosenberger, the freshman forward. So Army with a strong freshman presence of their own. We talk about Compton with BU, but Rosenberger has done well for the Black Knights as well, as the ball comes through here, looking on the right side, and making the run is Dory Varley Barrett, plays it inside, and Casalia is there to collect. Varley Barrett making the run from right back, but just couldn't keep it far enough away from the senior netminder, or sophomore netminder, that is. Long punt played up. It bounces. Now challenging for it. That's Sweeney. Now Compton retreating. Eventually dealt with by Royce Light, who tries to possess now through Chelsea Churchill. BU doing a good job of working the ball around. They'll now look for the long ball, but not enough players up to challenge it. As Army will take over. And we talk about how Army is going to be the team looking for the counterattack, and BU's best opportunity thus far has come on one of their own. Other than that, Army's done a good job of dealing with the Terriers in possession, keeping them away from any dangerous areas and trying to put some just prospective long balls to test this defense, but thus far,
Army's they're gonna get their own chances. They're gonna be few and far between. If they're gonna want to win this game, they're gonna have to capitalize with these over-the-top balls. One coming the other way this time.
It's another long ball intended for Kelli Harris, who gets there. The defender does well and clears it up. It will go out of bounds for yet another BU throw-in.
When you're on the road trying to pull an upset like Army is, it's not about the chance they create, it's about capitalization and execution. If they can, just capitalize on one or two of those chances, they'll be in good shape with how strong their defense has been. They haven't given up more than one goal in a bunch of games. It's been 4 games since they gave up more than one goal, and they haven't given up a goal in 2 games, which both went to double overtime, so they're very stingy at the back.
Doyle finds Harris. One-time ball in. And good defending by number 25, Mia Payton.
Patriot League leaders in corners already have their second of the game 10 minutes in.
That's right. BU hit the century mark on corner kicks with 100 in the regular season. Quite an accomplishment considering they played 9 games. It's a high number, and you know that they've got experience on them. They're looking to convert here and get an early lead just past 10 minutes into this one. It'll be held free to deliver. Low ball in. Header just wide.
Good chance for BU there. It was a bit of a free header that you'd expect you'd expect Light to connect with, and she did, just couldn't keep it on target. She was able to get free of her marker. You'd expect a little better from Royce Light there.
Still though, BU getting some opportunities from the long crosses. As you mentioned, Light finding the header on that one. But Royce Light unable to put it in the back of the net from a difficult angle. On the far side, Sweeney bangs a header out of bounds. For BU, it looks like Helferty patrolling the left wing position, getting pulled relatively far back into her defensive end. But as we know, when you have some star-studded attackers like that, sometimes it's just a matter of trying to fit all of them in. Seen Doyle, as you mentioned in the pregame, she's had a strong season in her own right. While Helferty may get the headlines, a lot of attacking options on this BU squad.
I mentioned Army having to capitalize on the opportunity they do get. Set pieces are prime example. They need good deliveries.
Ball in from Sydney Witham, the captain. Header, and Messner just barely got in front of it, but not the most convincing of saves, and now comes back in, and there's Messner confidently to recover.
Yeah, and that was a good delivery, just like I mentioned, and Army got a good chance from it. Messner was behind it comfortably. But, yeah, it was another good chance for Army, who's starting to get their foot into this game.
Well, you said it. Their opportunities may be far and few between, but they're going to try to take them when they get them. We saw there, putting a corner kick into a dangerous position.
Yeah, and it was Walsh who got her head on it. We saw her gave goal-saving, goal-line clearance about 10 minutes ago. She's a threat on both ends, defensively and more, I guess, prolifically on offense. She's using her head there to get Army's first shot on target.
BU retreating once again as Army have another throw-in on that far side. Morgan Walsh, who made a great clearance just moments ago to keep this game level on the right wing there for the Black Knights. Now it's cleared back up, dealt with defensively. It's Cofton looking to play it back forward. Now Chelsea Churchill will try to set things up. Libby Clausen here, trying to direct traffic and unable to find a fellow Terrier. Little battle for the ball and ends up going in BU's favor.
A relatively clean start to the game. Army do lead the Patriot League in fouls per game at over 11, but nothing too big so far in terms of contact within the player. It's been a clean start.
Well, we talk about how BU may have the advantage, at least in terms of offensive possession time, but they're not a team that puts up all that many goals. They have not scored more than 2 goals in a game since September 26th, which was a 3-0 victory over Holy Cross.
Yeah, they went 7 and they were undefeated in the conference, but not too many easy victories. You know, a couple 1-0 and 2-0 wins in there, and a lot of overtime games as well. American and the last matchup between these two teams here at Nickerson Field a couple weeks ago, Army and BU played to a 1-1 tie in double overtime. So it's not like BU have been you know, they haven't been a battering ram getting through every Patriot League opponent, crushing them with ease. It's been a struggle for Nancy Feldman's side, but they've been able to score the goals when they need to, and that's what I think got them this top seed.
That's exactly right. Sometimes when the final touch just isn't there to put it in the back of the net, you can kind of grind games out with strong possession and just wearing down an opponent. And that's what we've seen a lot out of this Terrier 11. As Messner will collect outside of her box. Now look for an option. Royce Light getting several touches from that left center back position.
See how Army, they're having 4 defenders, but they're still having, they're having a very holding defensive midfielder. Literally stand right in front of that back 4 the whole time. It's Shanine Almenaria, and she's kind of just that little protection in front of the defense if they get a little bit exposed like they may have just here.
Yeah, the ball gets through, and now it's Harris on this near side. Driving through, looking for a cross. but it's very well defended there by Sydney Witham, the senior captain. Harris finding some joy here on the right flank, though.
Yeah, it's definitely been where most of BU's threats have been coming from this right side. Maybe something that Army will look to swap their outside defenders if they feel they're being exposed down this right-hand side.
Well, we've seen it all throughout the season. Kelli Harris, almost an energizer bunny of sorts for this Terrier squad. Always working, always hustling, and she can make things happen with her legs, and almost did right there. Now Helferty will play the ball in. In a good position, but dealt with defensively. Retreating is Coughton to recover. They'll look to restart things. Back on the right side, nice touch by Doyle. Drives inside, looks for a long shot on the left foot, but it's collected comfortably by Casalia.
And Army did a good job of closing down Doyle there. Didn't have enough time to get, the most solid contact that she wanted. A good job from Emily Torres closing her down.
Long ball forward from Casalia. Finds the head of Sweeney. Doyle's going to collect, but offsides is the call. Referee spots it, and he'll bring it back now. McKenna Doyle all over the place in the attacking third, trying to run whatever channel she can. It'll be Mia Payton. Actually, she's going to give way for the free kick. Now it's launched forward. Jostle for the ball.
These long balls forward, it's important for the second ball. After the first person, no matter which team it is, the knockdown with the head or with the high foot, it's important who gets the second ball. You have to be quick to react to see where that may land and get there first. That's how you can control an attack, and after with a long ball forward from defense, that's how you can really maintain a nice spell of possession.
Morgan Walsh, the right back, very busy so far. Now Army trying to gain possession, but BU not making it easy. Finally, ball played forward, but no one on this left wing, and Messner will come out to settle things for the Terriers. We mentioned Morgan Messner. She's played in 11 games for the Terriers. Only 8 goals against. That's a .84 goals against average, and 31 saves, including 5 shutouts. Just put her at 6 wins and 4 losses, as Doyle could be in here. On the right flank, she's onside. Now playing it in. The header, and it falls to a Terrier, but the shot goes up and above and over the net. That was Chelsea Churchill making the run from defense.
Yeah, BU had numbers there, 4-on-4. The ball wasn't exactly where Doyle would have liked it. Harris couldn't quite attack it. It was over her, and Churchill really didn't have much time. Just had to get a snapshot out, and it's off the end of her foot and caromed over the crossbar.
But BU showing some pace on the attacking end. That is giving Army some trouble here, just about halfway through this first half. On the Patriot League Network, I'm Brady Gardner with Josh Rothstein here in the 2018 Patriot League Women's Soccer semifinal match. Another one to be played later tonight between Lehigh and Colgate. We'll have the coverage here for you again for that one at 7:30. But who will be moving on in this game? Score is still level as they'll look forward. That's Harris pursuing. This time Casalia wins the foot race. Clears it high and wide. But BU once again grab possession. Army able to deal with that one.
Impressive running there from Dory Varley Barrett, closing down the defender, then the goalie, forcing Army now into a turnover that BU can keep the ball with them.
Varley Barrett, the senior. She spent a lot of time in that Terrier midfield. I believe she leads the team in minutes. Actually, I should make a correction. It's McKenna Kennedy who leads the team in minutes. She has 1,542 minutes in that Terrier back line this year. but Farley Barrett certainly right up there with her. Spent a lot of time on the field for BU. Now Army with some time in the attacking half. Sydney Witham looking for an option. No luck, but Army now able to corral it. But BU defending in numbers here is all three midfielders within about 5 square yards. Calls
challenge.
Yep, it's a good challenge. Calls for a foul, but nothing doing. And finally, a foul is called, but some rough play there.
Yes,
this game getting physical.
Yeah, Sarah Chamberlain doing a great job in that sort of attacking midfielder role, just in behind the forwards, being an absolute nuisance for the Terrier midfielders, winning the ball back multiple times, but she got a little too much of the body there that time. But good work from the senior midfielder.
Well, this is an Army team that led the Patriot League in fouls this season with 215. They're not afraid of some physicality. And when you take on a strong attacking team like BU, sometimes that's what you need to do. It's working though. They're halfway through the first half and have yet to concede against a high-powered Terrier attack. As we see the subs start to warm up for BU. Coach Nancy Feldman might have some changes on her mind. Feldman, the 24-year veteran, started with this program when they were just a club team, and now has seen them come all the way up as the ball is played in on the left side. It's Farley Barrett trying to make something happen, but no luck. And it'll come all the way back now to McKenna Kennedy. Libby Clausen trying to make a driving run here from right back. Plays it outside now to Kelli Harris. Harris looking to provide. Finds a runner, but a swing and a miss there near the penalty spot. But BU starting to mount some pressure as it comes back out here to Harris. She'll try it again. Harris taking on the defender, and that time it hits the corner flag. You rarely ever see that, but it stays in play. Kind of a unknown rule there, but when it hits the flag and stays in, it's still in play.
And a break for Army. That would have been at least a corner, potentially a throw. And now they'll be let off with a goal kick. But that play really started with good work from Libby Clausen. You know, she had plenty of space. She drove right into it. That attracted more Army defenders to her. And that allowed the little through ball to Kelli Harris, who was in open space, because the Army defenders hadn't closed down Clausen initially. So that caused a bit of a panic that many people had to go to Clausen and allowing Harris to serve in across.
BU able to settle in the midfield through Cofton. Now it's Clausen. She'll send it long, but Doyle knew she was offsides. McKenna Doyle loves staying on that defensive line, trying to catch them off guard and win a foot race.
She already won one, and she just keeps timing her runs perfectly. That'll give her more chances free on goals. You see her trying to get back now, and then she starts to go again, looking for the through ball.
Here's Helferty playing that through ball. Just a bit out of the reach of Doyle. Kelli Harris was making the far post run as well. You can tell, though, BU likes to get out and run. You're playing those long balls and getting close, but no success yet.
Good little flick there from Army. Aaron Johns, but no one was really on that right side making the run. And everyone's kind of tucked back in defending, absorbing all this BU pressure.
McKenna Kennedy plays it out wide. Harrison, tons of space. Defenders respecting her pace. Now the ball played through in the midfield, but just a little bit too strong for any Terriers to run onto. We look at this Army squad who has been strong defensively in these first 25 minutes. They conceded the second least goals per game of the season with .72 per game. They were also second in goals against, 13. But on the other side of the ball, they were last in the Patriot League in goals per game with .833.
Yeah, strong defense is definitely what got Army this far, pulling the upset against Navy. They had to win their last two games. Last ending game of the season against Bucknell. Didn't give up a goal in regulation plus 2 overtimes in the 1-0 win over Navy that got them here. They've been very stingy on defense, and now late in the season, especially when it matters, they've really tightened up.
It does show you the resiliency of this team. They went 6 matches coming into that quarterfinal in which they hadn't won a single match. Meanwhile, on the other side, BU coming in very hot here to the postseason. As you see on your screen, unbeaten in almost 2 months through 10 games. Very impressive from these Terriers, who had only won 1 game in their opening 8.
Yeah, it's something Coach Feldman preaches. You know, she likes to set up a difficult out-of-conference schedule, get some tests early on that gets them ready for this Patriot League schedule, and it looks like it paid off well. Their overall record may not look that good, but that's because they're playing some of the top programs in the country consistently early on, and once they get through that, they feel a lot more comfortable going against some of these Patriot League teams.
Kennedy nods forward for Harris, who tried to find Doyle, but could not. And now Mia Payton, a name we have said a few times here tonight, like many of those members of the Army back line. They've had a lot of work to do so far, but that bend don't break defense is working quite well, as Emily Torres now able to get it forward. Good interception by McKenna Kennedy. Here goes Helferty, team's leading player with points. Now she runs through, gives it to Kelli Harris. Plenty of space to put in across. She does so, looking to get ahead on it. It falls dangerously. That's Clausen running in, but well blocked. Now a long cross in from Pietra Sweeney. And that was Cofton, who had her work cut out for her, but won her team a throw-in.
Does well to pressure the Army back there, just into a kind of get it out mode instead of being able to control and clear. BU try and keep it in this attacking third as we get a change on this right-hand side.
It'll be Kelli Harris making way. We'll let you know the sub as soon as we can identify her here atop historic Nickerson Field. I believe it's Shannon Keefe coming in, the junior. As Pietra Sweeney has a throw-in on the far side. Attempted to play it in. That was Doyle, it appeared, on the far corner, but couldn't keep it inside of the end line. As a trio of BU substitutes will come in now. Try to identify these changes. That's Julianna Chen, the senior, coming in, replacing Chelsea Churchill. As well as Jenna Oldham, a freshman, who will be trying to patrol this right wing area now. A few changes for the Terriers, trying to implement some fresh legs here with just about 16 minutes remaining in this first half. Looks like that third change was here on the near side. Anne-Marie Jaworski coming in. Number 7, replacing Libby Clausen. Farley Barrett able to win the ball, but loses possession on the pass. Now retreating, and that's Chen, who did well to play it back to the freshman goalkeeper Messner, but her distribution lets her down a little bit and goes out of bounds for an Army throw-in. Just about in their attacking third. That was Aaron Johns, the tall striker, challenging for that one, but called for the foul.
I think she just got her arm up a little too high there, but you'll be able to control the game back and get some possession back as we hit the last 15 minutes of the first half. Chances have quieted down a bit. There's a couple on both ends early on, but it's been a lot more of a, well, BU still has had more possession, but it's been a little bit less clinical with their crosses on trying to find their own forwards going in towards goal.
Looks like our player to watch, McKenna Doyle, has made way. One of those substitutions replacing her. But Shannon Keefe up there leading the lines alongside Jenna Oldham. So a duo of secondary players is now coming in is Keefe. And she'll shoot for the back post, but just a little bit off on that one. It'll be a goal kick.
That was a real chance for Keefe to get her first goal of the season. She was well in. She just dragged her shot quite a bit wide. It's a good chance for BU. She was clean through. Angle was slightly tight, but still, you'd expect something to get on goal and trouble Cecilia.
Well, Keefe's first touch of the game, almost a goal. As the junior, as you said, is still trying to get on the score sheet in her 2018 campaign. On the near side, it was Oldham challenging for it, but couldn't get there in time. It falls out for a throw-in taken by Torres now. So they'll settle things down and look to establish some possession in the offensive end. Here's Erin Johns. Probably the leading attacking weapon for Army West Point as she wins the throw-in there. Johns with 5 assists, 11 points, which leads the team. 42 shots, 19 coming on goal, but I think the biggest stat for Johns, 3 game-winning goals, one of which came a few days ago in that semifinal or in that quarterfinal matchup against Navy.
Yeah, she has a knack for scoring the big goal for her team. They don't come off, but when they do, they're almost always important.
A great way to put it. Barley Barrett, no nonsense clearance just to get rid. Now Kennedy will clear. That's Keefe coming back for it. Tries to play it forward to Oldham, but just out of bounds. A lot of throw-ins here for Emily Torres on this left side. Now the ball through for Keefe, trying to get those legs moving. Looking for a cross, and it's deflected by the center back. That's the captain, Sydney Witham. Senior doing a good job in the heart of that back line.
You know, we saw Harris before she was subbed off. It's now Keefe. Both BU right wingers have been having plenty of success on this right-hand side, getting in behind. And
well, that's
just about, it's due. It's about time. One of the crosses they provide a real opportunity for one of the BU strikers.
That's the benefit you get when you have 2 pacey wingers who can play the same position and kind of platoon there, because it does tire out the defense. When we see it again, the ball hits the corner flag and stays in bounds. Second time that game. Not sure I've ever seen that before, but when you have 2 players that can do the same thing, it does tire out the defense when they're just chasing and chasing for long stretches, as we're seeing here. Ball gets through now. It's Keefe. Tries to play it forward to Helferty. Had tried to come middle for it when the ball ended up going towards the back post, and now our player to watch, Casalia, looks to distribute with a throw.
It was an odd height for Keefe. She may have had more time than she initially thought to maybe take a touch there and bring that down. The height it was with her first touch, it would have taken something special to either find Helferty or perhaps find the back of the net.
Here's Libby Clausen, who has moved over to the left side. The throw in, unable to find Keefe up top. Actually, that might have been Cofton making the run out of midfield. Indeed it was. BU loves to have those runners coming through the midfield. We have Cofton, who loves to come screaming forward, as we've seen Helferty having to drop back in defense, but as we know, such an offensive talent. She can get forward as well. Even the likes of Chelsea Churchill popping up in the goals every so often as well. Here's Helferty playing it forward. Well defended again by Witham. Now through to Oldham, but she's offsides. Striking duo though, kind of finding some space in behind that defense, just trying to deal with the defensive line now. That offsides call getting them a couple times here. We're into the final 10 minutes of this opening half. Score remains 0-0, but BU with the better chances thus far, including a goal line clearance forced. But all that matters is the 2 zeros on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and I'd say this game turned out to be just about what you'd expect, at least the first half hour or so. A lot of BU possession, a couple major chances, but Army, as they tend to do, strong defensively and in goal. And they got a chance or two, but, it's been mostly BU, which was something we probably expected from the top-seeded Terriers against the bottom seed Black Knights.
As we know, though, in the tournament, anything can happen. With Army West Point knocking off the favored Navy midshipmen in that matchup earlier in the quarterfinals that we talked about. Throw-in coming on the far side. Morgan Walsh to deliver. Now Helferty intercepts. She gets fouled. BU will have a free kick deep in their own end. Looking to set something up now, it's Royce Light. Light tends to be the deeper of the two defenders. McKenna Kennedy able to get up and win some headers as Light backs up in a sort of insurance policy for that back line. Almost a sweeper-stopper role at times between the two, as now it's Keefe running through. Going to take it on the one time, but good defense on the play from Mia Payton.
Yeah, Keefe showing great pace. She was definitely behind Payton initially when that ball was played. She showed good speed to get in behind and force Payton into a clearance that gives BU, yet again, another corner.
Helferty once again set to deliver.
First one coming in from this side will play it short.
As you said, the ball short. Shot comes in. It's collected by Casalia, but another shot for BU. Looks to be 8 for the hosts compared to 1 for the visiting Black Knights. So the opportunities mounting now for the Terriers, but will they find that breakthrough before halftime? I think if you're Army, getting 0-0 to halftime would be quite an accomplishment, knowing the offensive prowess of the Terriers, but as we also know, Army's such a strong defensive team. They've got a lot of confidence in the way they can defend, and now they're looking to nick one here as we get underneath 7 minutes to play in this opening half.
Yeah, Army committing a lot of bodies forward. Hopefully, maybe just create some chaos in top of the BU box and find a loose ball similar to that goal they scored against Navy, but looks like BU was able to handle the initial free kick.
Morgan Walsh tried to play it through, but Kennedy's right there to knock it away. Header comes in from Torres. 2 Terriers in defense. It's kicked through to Torres. Just unable to keep it in bounds. It was a difficult one. And it was Anne-Marie Jaworski trying to get back to a quick start, but the official wouldn't let it happen. Instead, taking time for a substitution. It'll be Hannah Wilcox entering the game in place of Anna Helferty. And say it may not be the first half that Helferty was hoping for. Such a prolific attacking option for this team. But she had a few good crosses there and was certainly a danger in the back of the minds of Army West Point. And sometimes that's all you really need. Just get players thinking about you and opening up opportunities for others. Challenging for the ball there is Wilcox.
And Helferty's all over the Terrier team leaders in terms of stats, leading in goals, assists, points, and shots. So you would have expected a little more, but here's a chance.
Here comes the ball through to Keefe. One-on-one with the keeper. Keefe shoots, and it's in the back of the net. Shannon Keefe, we've seen her run through the back line on numerous occasions, and she puts her team on top. 1-0 Terriers with 5 minutes to go in the first half.
And what a time for Keefe's first goal of the season. It's a real back-breaking goal for Army, who defended so well for the better part of 40 minutes. Just one slip and Keefe was in. Really changes the mentality of Army going into halftime, they thought they were, for the most part, clean through to the half. Would have been a confident halftime, maybe get some momentum from a clean first half, but now it's all with BU, and Army's going to have a big hill to climb.
And we talked about it. Shannon Keefe was still searching for that first goal of the season. It wasn't for a lack of trying. And finally she gets it, and couldn't have been at a bigger time for the Terriers, putting them on top here against an Army squad that had been so resilient in defense for almost 40 minutes.
For sure, and Taylor Cofton, who, has been prolific in front of goal for BU with 4 goals on the season. The freshman this time turning provider, playing a beautiful ball in to Keefe. And her first assist of the season, a pair of firsts for BU, gives them the lead in this Patriot League semifinal.
And of course, you can't forget where it all started. Dory Varley-Barrett making the tackle in the midfield to win it for her team. And then, as you said, Cofton playing the beautiful ball forward and letting Keefe do the rest. Nothing our player to watch, Casalia, could do on that one. But now the pressure is on Army, a team that hasn't been known for putting up goals this season, really. But they're going to need one if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive as the ball bounces around dangerously. But eventually dealt with as it comes back in. And again, BU able to clear. You can tell, though, the fans here at Nickerson Field have some life now. Had almost been lulled into a little bit of a daze by this relatively slow pace of the game that Army was facilitating early on. But that goal has woken them up.
Yeah, and that, slow, methodical build-up is just what Army would have wanted. Having to, they would be perfectly fine with BU passing it sideways, 35, 40 yards out from goal. But it was those through balls that they wanted to prevent, having to get their defenders to stretch their legs. It's the BU forwards can really get in there, and you just saw Shannon Keefe. She was able to get in there with her speed, and one-on-one, you'd bet on her to finish, and she did.
So a great moment for Keefe. Her first goal of the 2018 season coming here in a semifinal matchup. And now BU's going to try to add a second as the ball comes in from Oldham. And it was deflected for another BU corner kick. We said it, they lead the league in corners. They had over 100 in the regular season, and tonight alone they're up to 4. Anna Helferty not available currently as she's been replaced, so in the corner it will be Anne-Marie Jaworski, the midfielder, who will take it. Jaworski having to move the corner flag a little bit. We've seen the flags come into play a bit here in the first half. A couple weird deflections off the one on the near side as the ball comes in, a high lofted ball, and it's deflected towards the net, but just barely off. Casalia didn't know much about it.
Yeah, she was rooted to her spot. It looked like a couple B defenders or attackers rather, kind of got in each other's way while trying to leap for that.
BU smells blood in the water, though. Just got 1 goal. They're trying to make it 2 here in the final 2 minutes of this first half. Ball once again won by BU. And playing it forward, here comes Oldham. Ball into the middle. And a good defensive header to clear. But BU, wave after wave going forward.
Yeah, had to be a good defensive header there from Witham. Because Cofton was right behind her, and if Witham didn't get there, you better bet Cofton would have.
Another corner kick for Jaworski. Plays it middle. Light couldn't connect. And a long shot in, but just wide. Casalia not too threatened by that one as we near 1 minute left in this first half.
It's definitely a deserved lead for BU. Army haven't had a shot in quite a while. BU goalkeeper Morgan Messner has been relatively untested for BU, but it's been 11 shots for the Terriers, just 3 for Army, who haven't registered one since the 10th minute.
Yeah, we talked about it, how freshman Morgan Messner was favored in this game over the sophomore Amanda Fay after the two had kind of flip-flopped all season long between the sticks, but really hasn't mattered tonight. As you said, Messner only has had to face 1 shot. and it wasn't a particularly threatening one.
Thanks,
30
Shane.
seconds left here as Army will try to get something going, but the pass has gone astray. And now BU could get something quickly if they hurry. Ball forward. Chasing is Varley Barrett. Just relentless in her hustle. Playing in the midfield and working so hard offensively and defensively. 10 seconds left, and I think that'll just about do it for this opening half. As Army will just run the clock out with a quick throw-in. And the first half comes to an end. But an impressive half from the BU Terriers. Took them a little bit to finally break the deadlock, but it was Shannon Keefe who got her goal with about 5 minutes remaining in this half to put her team atop.
Yeah, it was definitely a rewarding first half for BU. They worked hard, and they finally got their goal. Plenty of possession, plenty of chances, and it was Keefe who finally broke the deadlock.
So we'll take a quick break, but we'll be right back for some more Patriot League programming, and then the second half. Don't go anywhere. All right, well, as the teams come back out to the field on what has become a wet night here, we take a look once more at that goal from Shannon Keefe to put the Terriers on top 1-0. It was about the 40th minute, coming towards the end of that first half, and Keefe found a way in on goal through the pass by freshman Taylor Cofton. And Keefe did the rest, slotting it by our player to watch, Sydney Casalia, and putting her team on top. It was Keefe's first goal of the season. It certainly came at a big time for the junior.
Yeah, and what you didn't quite see in that clip was the gorgeous pass from the freshman Taylor Cofton for her first assist as well of the season after she scored 4 goals. So that's a combination to look out for here in the second half. And as far as BU can go the rest of the season, if Cofton and Keefe can get some chemistry off the bench, or at least Keefe coming off the bench, it could be. We talked about in the open secondary scoring when opposition's going to try and shut down BU's best player, which for this season has been Anna Halferty. So this could be an option we brought up in the open, that McKenna Doyle or even Shannon Keefe. Any of them could be if any of them. They only need one to get going to be a secondary option here late in the season.
Well, that's right. And now the pressure is on Army. Can they respond? Remind you, this is a team that was last in the Patriot League in goals per game. They only scored .833 on the season. So not really a team that's used to having to put up some goals. They usually rely on their defense to pull out maybe 1-0 victories or 0-0 ties. Well, they're going to need something today if they want to keep their season alive, as BU has things underway now, going right to left in the whites, and Army defending from the left side in their blacks. The rain coming down here at Nickerson Field. It was an overcast day for much of the day, but finally the clouds are opening up, and you can see it down below us. The umbrellas and raincoats are out. The long ball goes astray here.
We saw BU playing a lot of over the balls over the top or through gaps in the Army defense. Those are just going to have to be weighted even more perfectly this half with the slick Nickerson surface, picking up the ball potentially, having it skim off the surface and out of play. So it's going to be more of a tough sledding both sides trying to on offense. And then they're just going to have to be even more precise than they would have had to be on a dry pitch.
That's right, Nickerson Field, a turf surface, so you don't have to worry about any mud or anything out there, but when it gets wet, it does become kind of like a hockey puck on ice and just skidding all over the place. We'll see if they're able to control the ball here, as we saw in that first half, and like you mentioned, they like to play those long balls through. Well, they're going to have to be especially careful with how much they weight those, or they'll see a lot of goal kicks from Casalia in that net for the Black Knights.
I wonder what Adrian Blewett, Army head coach, his first year, what his message was at halftime. He's going to need his team to, start attacking more in the first half. They sat back, absorbed BU pressure for most of it, and didn't concede until about the 41st minute. But I wonder if he's going to go straight into, trying to get his team forward at the offset of the half, or if he's going to, wait until there's about 20 minutes left.
Well, trying to run through there was Helferty, and calls for a penalty kick, but the referee didn't see it. At least didn't see it that way. Now Libby Clausen goes back to Helferty, who's already having more of an active part in the offense here early in this second half. Now Julianna Chen who has kept her spot since coming on. Just about halfway through that first half. And Pietra Sweeney now gets it tangled underneath her legs a little bit, but able to recover. As it's Royce Light. Far side Clausen, BU going further away from the attacking net, but they're happy to keep control of the ball. And now on the far side, it's played in. Dangerous for Doyle. And her header just goes wide.
It was really well worked by BU. Really a sight to see, and if Doyle was able to get that ball in the back of the net with her head, it would have been a gorgeous goal. Just really good work on that far side by BU. You know, we mentioned her success in the first half. Kelli Harris once again, now on the opposite side, but she's still providing really good ball in.
Sure was. We saw a ton of crosses from BU in that first half, just trying to find the likes of Doyle and Helferty in the middle there. Even Cofton coming up from midfield. And they almost had one there, less than 4 minutes into this opening half. Or second half, that is. Opening minutes of the second half. So this will be Sydney Witham, senior captain, who was beat on that goal by Keefe. But she has been strong all year and certainly a player that Coach Blewett can depend on. SBU will knock it down now to Helferty, who has a cheeky flip. Or a little flick on, but unable to corral the second ball. Once again in the midfield, as Chelsea Churchill calming things down for the Terriers. And here's Kelli Harris streaking down the right. Looks for the ball in. Helferty was challenging, but cut out. And eventually cleared now by the Black Knights.
The second half starting very much like the first. Good BU chance. And they're owning the ball for the first 4 or 5 minutes.
Pietra Sweeney looking for the 1-2, but it falls to Dory Varley-Barrett. We mentioned Cofton. Actually, Varley-Barrett gets fouled there, but we mentioned Cofton having such a good assist on that goal by Keefe, but it was Varley-Barrett who came up with the initial tackle to take the ball away from the Black Knights and spark the counterattack. Right there, Army giving up another foul. We talked about it in the first half. They led the Patriot League in fouls this season. They had 215 over the course of the regular season, and we're seeing more of the same here, that physical style of play that you often see from teams who rely on their defense. Now it's Helferty on the near side. Good defense there from Morgan Walsh. Walsh had a major stop early in that first half, clearing the ball off the goal line to keep the score level at the time.
Not sure Army's had a controlled touch in the BU half in the second half just yet. Already over 5 minutes in. Field has definitely been tilted towards Sydney Casalia.
Really has, as Morgan Messner now, Casalia's counterpart in the BU net.
Looks like player for Army is a little slow to get up. Maybe she got the wind knocked out of her. I think it's Kaylee Stallings, and now the ref's going to attend to her. I think she just got the wind knocked out of her. May have taken a ball to the gut.
Yeah, Stallings really one of the engines in the midfield. A senior for this team. She started all 19 games in the regular season. One of only 3 players. Actually, make that 5 players to do so. Alongside Casalia, Johns, Morgan Walsh, Emily Torres, and actually Sydney Witham. So that's 6 players. Third tries the charm. Third yeah.
Got to point out.
Yeah.
We got what you meant. Don't
Yep,
worry.
cool. But you can tell that's just the core players that they rely on this team. And when you're looking for the strong, organized defense that they like to play with, you need to have those core players that will be there day in, day out. That's what you see from those 6. Throw in on the far side is intercepted by BU. Now Doyle plays it back. Long ball forward. Can Harris track it down? I didn't think she had a chance, but she ended up making it close. Nonetheless, ends up a throw-in to be taken by Emily Torres for Army West Point.
You see the Terriers coming in quickly. They're going to try and win the ball back, hold Army into this corner. But just force that long clearance that BU should be able to regain possession. That's what happens with throw-ins deep in their own corner. It's tough to get out of those with, attackers pressuring defenders on the throw that force them into just, get rid of it, hoof it out, and usually you're able to win the second ball and retain possession.
Well, Royce Light forced to dispossess. Now it's throw in for Torres once again. Looking down that left flank. Tried to get a lot going on the left flank in the first half, did Army. So far, though, BU outside backs doing a good job. Saw Libby Clausen spending a lot of time over there in that opening half, as well as Anne-Marie Jaworski doing a job in outside back for the Terriers. And then, of course, Pietra Sweeney as well, the senior, only player on BU's roster to start every match in the regular season.
Yeah, we highlighted her in the first half. Not really a girl's name we say too often, but she's always a solid, stable force at that back of that BU defense. So we've been talking about how strong Army's defense has been. That's not a knock on the Terriers' defense either. They've been, almost equally as strong, and it'll take something special from Army to beat down this BU wall.
Really will, and I think one of the key players to watch for on Army trying to mount this comeback will be the striker, Erin Johns. Didn't see much of the ball in the first half, but she was the one who provided the golden goal in the double overtime victory over Navy in the quarterfinals. So they'll look to her to try to come up with an equalizer and maybe even a winner if they get that far here later tonight. As the ball comes in, no one challenging Royce Light for that header, as Sweeney tries to track it down, but just out of her reach. BU getting plenty of numbers behind the ball. They do not want to see this 0 on the board become a 1. Cross came in but was deflected. Farley Barrett able to get it outside and it's cleared up. As that's Doyle coming across to the far side just to play it out of bounds, I believe. Was indeed. Couldn't tell if it was a potential offsides call. Throw in nonetheless. Emily Torres takes. Little pinball action. The referee saw something he didn't like. And it'll be a free kick for Army in a position they could get a service from.
Yeah, it's a good crossing position here for Army. Seeing a lot of bodies coming forward into the box. You'd expect an in-swinging delivery into just a corridor of uncertainty where the goalkeeper doesn't know if to come and get it or not.
Sydney Witham plays it in. A strong ball that forces Messner to punch. Bouncing ball now at the top of the box. Shot attempted. It'll get deflected and go out of bounds for a corner kick. But Army getting some decent looks there inside and challenging Messner in that BU goal.
I thought Messner really wasn't that pressured. I thought she could have had a chance to just grab that. She went for the punch and it was good enough. But I'm just not so sure if she could have just caught it and, leads to this corner.
As we've said, Messner, the freshman, hasn't seen too many stages like this in her career. As that ball comes deep here and another foul called. The referee quick to come to his whistle here in the early stages of this second half.
Stallings just kind of climbing off the BU defender there, not allowing her to jump.
So the free kick will be taken by Messner. A little bit like a goal kick, not too far off from that 6-yard box. Once again, though, Army making it difficult for BU to get something going, and another foul called against Army West Point.
Might start to see a card or two being produced by our head match referee. Army's starting to get a little physical out there.
Well, when you're trailing a goal, you need to make things happen, and sometimes just putting in a strong tackle or two is the way to do that. As we see McKenna Doyle now, our player to watch. Couldn't keep that one in bounds, but it'll be a Terrier throw-in nonetheless. Libby Clausen comes to take next to her sideline there. Plenty of plenty of substitutes available for this Terrier team if Coach Feldman should decide to use some. We did see quite a few changes made in that first half for the Terriers, one of which produced a goal as Keefe came on and within 20 minutes of being put on the field, came up with her first goal of her collegiate career, or first goal of this season for her. It was the first assist of Cofton's collegiate career. Pietra Sweeney wins a header. No win there for the Terriers, though. It'll come back in, and there's Johns with a nice little turn. But good defense by Sweeney to help out Royce Light. Long ball here, and Helferty was trying to get there, but just barely went out of bounds. That's harsh for Helferty, who worked hard to keep it in, just unable to, according to the assistant referee. Helferty maybe not with as big a role in this game as she would have liked, being the main attacking threat for this BU squad, but as we talked about earlier, it's all about the secondary scoring for this team. Players popping up who maybe you didn't think about.
Yeah, with Helferty, she may not necessarily be causing a lot of opportunities herself, but just her presence and her stats on the air, her resume, so to speak, causes Army to bring a lot of defenders to her, and that in and of itself might free up some other BU options up front. And just, Helferty being used as a decoy, well, it might not necessarily still show up on the stat sheet in terms of her getting on it. It's just as helpful as anything getting on the score sheet by causing a lot of Army defenders to worry about her and leaving some other options for BU, like Shannon Keefe, who has the lone goal and the difference between BU and Army at the moment.
And right now, Army has to be thinking of some more attacking options that they can implement, as having Aaron Johns isolated up there is simply not getting it done thus far. Just about half an hour left in this game. Can Army come up with an equalizer, or will BU make it two? Here goes Kelli Harris once again on that right flank. She's had so much joy there today, but that time it's snuffed out well.
Closed down by two Army defenders. They realized their mistakes with her in the first half on that side. Not just Harris, but also Keefe, who had some success. They need two defenders there now.
Chelsea Churchill from long distance. And on a skipping ball, due to the rain here we've had in the last half hour or so, that one was dangerous, but Sydney Casalia able to keep it a one-goal game. Long punt from Casalia, met by McKenna Kennedy. Here goes Churchill, livening up there in the midfield for the Terriers. She feeds Harris. Once again on that right flank, looking for a cross. She cuts it back on the left foot now. Plays it to Churchill. She'll go for a long strike. That one maybe a little bit too ambitious. It rises up and over the crossbar.
Yeah, and you're starting to see Army slowly commit more women forward into their attacks. They're going to need to as they press for this equalizer. But it will leave them exposed at the back a little bit. And we've seen Kelli Harris have plenty of success with Army defending at their usual capacity, so you'd only expect more success when they start to be forced to go for the equalizer.
Army's counterattack there dealt with well by the Terriers. Now it's Pietra Sweeney who challenged for it. Trinity Garay was able to keep it in bounds, and now Army might be able to get a little possession going, although as I say that, it's sent deep into the BU end. Sweeney will deal with it, but only gets as far as Garay. Garay's ball in was deflected out of bounds. This is probably the best attacking, potential that Army has had, really all half.
I noticed that about that. I don't think Messner's had any touches besides off that corner. And when BU gets her involved by passing it back, so if Army can get something on frame here, they certainly have a chance.
Morgan Walsh's long throw-in. Couldn't find a Black Knight. Now it's McKenna Doyle tracking back. Goes to Helferty, who almost seems surprised that she was able to keep it in bounds, and then just launches it forward. Lets her team get out of their defensive end. Lobbed forward again by Casalia. She loves the long balls. Got a good foot, but has not been able to find one of her fellow Black Knights thus far. BU's defense doing a good job on those aerial battles. You can see the field just starting to shift, though. As Army putting together some more time in the BU end.
Leicester starting to string some passes on the exterior. Nothing too concerning for BU. They've been mostly behind the ball. They haven't been really caught out just yet. But Army, with another corner here, starting to get a foot into the second half.
That was Aaron Johns who forced Libby Clausen to put it out of bounds. Johns, the tallest player on this team for Army West Point. And she'll go straight to Messner's goal. Trying to be a distraction there for the freshman keeper. As once again, it will be the senior captain with him to play it in. Here comes the ball. Curling towards the net. And Messner able to catch. And she'll let her team get forward, set something up. But at the halfway point here of the second half, seems like Army might be getting something going a little bit.
Yeah, and that corner especially, delivery just has to be a little bit better. You never wanted Messner had a really uncontested opportunity to make the catch there and quell the Army pressure. You just want to at least make her, have to worry about a couple of oncoming attackers trying to get their head on it. Bit of a disappointing delivery there, but it's better from Army.
And a substitution will be made as Anne-Marie Jaworski checks back in. Looks like she'll be replacing Libby Clausen. The outside back has done a good job tonight, but Jaworski very capable as well. Army concedes another foul. McKenna Kennedy will set things up and go back to her center back partner, Royce Light. Seems like the rain has almost come to a stop now. Most of the umbrellas have gone away, but the field's certainly a little slick now. You see the ball's continuing to kind of slide through. Could give the defense on both sides a little extra element to think about. This Casalia will bang it forward again from a goal kick. Now in the near side, Walsh unable to keep it in bounds. Sweeney will take the throw. We remind you once again that you're watching the Patriot League Network on Stadium. I'm Brady Gardner with Josh Rothstein, bringing you coverage of the 2018 Patriot League Women's Soccer Semifinals. And we'll have another one of these semifinal matchups coming right after this one. Lehigh and Colgate set to kick off at 7:30. Certainly another game you will not want to miss.
Another upset in the quarterfinals, 5th seeded Lehigh. Upsetting.
A good point. Thus far, this entire playoffs have seen upsets in every game. But as things are shaping out right now, looks like BU may be able to change that trend. 1-0 to score, as Shannon Keefe broke the deadlock with just about 5 minutes left in that opening half. On a nice through ball from the freshman and the Patriot League Rookie of the Year, Taylor Cofton.
Yeah, she showed her versatility there, being able to be the supplier in that case, in that situation, not necessarily the recipient, but she, able to show how versatile she is. Here's a chance.
Here's a nice run by Jaworski coming from right back. Now she gives it up for Harris, who just found herself off sides, and she's frustrated with herself after the strong run by Jaworski.
It was also on beyond Harris. So I don't know if she would have let that ball go. I think the flag would have stayed down.
Well, after Army had found some momentum there for a few minutes, it seems like BU has been able to weather the storm a little bit. Still, though, only 2 shots on the net of Morgan Messner, and that's got to change if you're the Black Knights. Comes another throw in on the far side for Jaworski. Look inside, and it was Churchill who was fouled.
Just what BU wants at this stage of the game. Be able to slow the game down with some set pieces and have time to provide a nice ball, keeping Army at bay and letting more time drip off the clock. We're approaching last 20 minutes.
This is a dangerous angle, too. Anna Helferty very capable of swinging this one into a dangerous part of the pitch. It's almost a better angle, really, than a corner kick, but a similar idea. As the ball comes in, looking for that near post run. But no connection, and now a penalty kick will be called. The referee saw a handball on the deflection, and BU will have an opportunity to double their lead.
I think it came off Chamberlain's hand in the box.
Kelli Harris, a little worse for the wear there. She took a hit, but it'll be McKenna Kennedy, it appears, to step up and try to double the lead and effectively put Army out of this one. Not really a team that has been able to climb out of many deficits this season. And 2 goals could be a little too much to ask.
Yeah, it's just a scramble in the box. Referee saw intentionally handled, and BU with a chance.
McKenna Kennedy steps up and fires it away into the left corner for the second goal of the game for Boston University. The sophomore does exactly what they needed from her and puts this team up 2 goals. We'll see a replay of it right here.
It's just a beautifully placed penalty from McKenna, sending the goalkeeper the wrong way. It's her first goal of the season as well, so a pair of first goals for the BU. Their goal scorers tonight. Keefe's first, now McKenna's first from the spot. And it was just, we talked about that free kick. It was put into a dangerous position. A bit of chaos ensued, and BU was able to get the penalty, and for all intents and purposes, book their place in the Patriot League final. Because Army, they haven't scored more than 2 goals all season, and they haven't scored more than 1 since a victory over Marist on September 19th. So it's a big ask for the Black Knights coming forward here in the last 20 or so minutes.
Well, it has been a game of firsts for the Terriers, as Taylor Compton had the first assist of her collegiate career on the first goal of the season for Shannon Keefe earlier. And then that one right there, the first goal of the season for McKenna Kennedy. So Army, if they're going to make something happen, they need to make it happen now. On the far side, it's Jaworski. Look for the throw. That one may not have ever come in bounds.
BU well-deserved 2-0 lead here, as they won the penalty, and it was well dispatched by the BU midfielder. And for the Terriers, they look comfortable now. They have to keep their composure, keep their concentration levels high. Army's going to be extra motivated now. They really have nothing to lose in defense, so they're going to commit as many bodies as they forward as they can.
Now Kelli Harris running forward. She'll get to that one after the pass from Chelsea Churchill led her into the corner. Now battling for it, but a good clearance. But this does put Coach Feldman in a bit of a difficult spot. Do you continue the pressure and stick with the 11 that have got you so far this season, or do you start to rest some legs for the imminent championship game on Sunday?
I think you have to kind of combine that mentality. You don't want to take your foot off the gas completely. But, you got to keep Sunday in mind. It's not too often that they play games within 2 days of each other. So it's definitely going to be a big recovery for these girls tomorrow, after in search of the game, which kicks off 2 p.m. November 4th, Sunday, the Patriot League Championship, right here at Nickerson Field. So it'll be a big ask for have these girls to recover after 90 minutes.
Ball played in there, but well dealt with by Sydney Casalia. So 20 minutes remaining. Army needs a goal every 10 minutes. Not going to be easy, but we've seen things like that happen before. But so far, the response to the goal from BU has been encouraging, at least in terms of being able to secure the victory here tonight, maintaining the both territorial and possession advantage since that second goal off the foot of McKenna Kennedy, her first of the season. Here is Kennedy now, looking to launch it forward. Has a little cluster of players to aim for. That was Kelli Harris, the closest in the area. Now here comes Cofton driving forward. She makes a defender miss. Plays it inside, and it's the second goal of the game. Actually, the first goal of the game from Kelli Harris. She deserved it. She's been doing so well on that right flank. And Harris makes the lead 3.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you see Taylor Cofton, who hasn't necessarily been providing so much this season from an assist standpoint. She turns it on once again here. Just a gorgeous run from Cofton, driving on as she picks up the ball in the midfield area and just gets past a tackle of one Army defender and a second one. And then she just plays a cute little ball across the face of goal. And it was Keefe getting her second goal of the game. You had it right the first time.
Yeah, I have to apologize there to Shannon Keefe. But good for her. Second goal of the game.
I mentioned the Cofton-Keefe combination. Something definitely now BU can take some momentum with those two, combining twice to put now Army well in some deep trouble here. They now trail by 3, and Keefe second of the game.
Keefe and Kelli Harris, such similar players as we see Keefe again. Those fresh legs as she just replaced Harris. And now threatening with a potential 4th goal for the Terriers.
BU not holding anything back with this lead, which is, I mean, the best defense is a good attack. So if they can keep the ball in this half, there's no chance that they'll even let Army back in this game. And now they have, yet again, another corner. This will be their 7th. Oh, it's a throw. My apologies, deep in that corner.
I mentioned it earlier. BU had not scored more than 2 goals in a match since September 26th. In a 3-0 victory versus Holy Cross. Well, they've done it again tonight. Currently leading 3-0 against Army West Point. And of course, an offensive outburst like this could come at no better time for the Terriers, who might be adding to it here. Keefe again on a hat trick. Helferty here, trying to work her way inside. Now finds Chelsea Churchill.
Sweeney's in plenty of space down this side. Helferty missed her the first time.
Helferty with a long shot. And a good diving save from Casalia, who had Varley Barrett coming in. No defender was there to track Barrett, so any rebound would likely have meant a 4th goal in the back of Casalia's net.
The last time Army conceded 3 goals just about a month ago in a 3-1 defeat at home to Bucknell. So it's been quite a while for them in terms of their defensive position and giving up 3. I'm sure Coach Blewett not going to be too happy with the way his back line is played. But this is quite the force he's going up against here in the BU Terriers. And I have a feeling he would be happy with how far they've gotten in his first season with the upset win against Navy.
Foul there. Johns, the offender. Pietra Sweeney went down. Looks like she'll be alright though. But BU just looking to finish the job now in these final 17 minutes. Close it out and move on one step closer to a Patriot League title.
After 3 straight Patriot League championships, BU going to get back into the championship game for the first time since 2015. Back at Nickerson Field, the Patriot League tournament, where it was hosted last time BU won, back in 2015.
Another change now from the Terriers. Looks like it'll be, let's see if we can find it here. Elle Conlin replacing Royce Light. So a change in center back here. That shows you the confidence that Coach Feldman has in this 3-goal lead.
The freshman defender getting a chance now with the last 15 minutes of this game, playing some Patriot League action.
And Jenna Oldham now on the right wing as well. So we can see Coach Feldman digging into her bench a little bit here. But when you have a 3-goal lead, you can do that. And as we've seen with Shannon Keefe, sometimes it provides quite a spark. Keefe, with one more goal, would have a hat trick. On the left side, ball played in. There's Keefe. And it falls to Varley Barrett. Her shot goes off the post. And BU will maintain possession, but nervy moments once again from Army West Point. On the far side, it was Oldham coming back from an offsides position.
Yeah, more good work from BU, and it was an unfortunate opportunity that did not come in from Chloe Sagmo, who's been into the game. She did really well to create the space after the ball was played into her. A really good turn from Sagmo as well. Just unfortunate to see it come off the post for the BU junior midfielder.
Well, you were just talking about how the last time BU won the tournament, they did it right here at Nickerson Field. They'll have another opportunity to do that if this scoreline stands, which certainly appears as though it will. And it will be attempting to add to Nancy Feldman's impressive 12 conference championships in her 24 years with Boston University. But it has been a few years since one. 2015 was their last title. But a convincing performance here against Army certainly sets themselves up well for what could potentially be that 13th title.
Yeah, and as this game winds down, as we're under 14 minutes to go, even though the result of the game is relatively decided, Coach Feldman would want to see some good defensive work off these corners, and that qualifies, I'd say. You don't want to see any slip in concentration. Want to keep that clean sheet.
A good point. Does give Coach Feldman the opportunity to mess with some things a little bit and try to figure out what she wants to do in that big game coming up on Sunday.
Credit to Army, though. They did play, they defended really well the first 40 minutes until that goal from Keefe, and just a really outstanding season for them defensively in particular, especially in goal with Casalia. We mentioned her. We've been talking about her all night. If I were Adrian Blewett in my first season, I'd be relatively pleased with how the season went on. Just losing to a really good BU team. Only 5 losses on the year. So I would, even though this is a disappointing ending to the season, we're assuming with 12.5 minutes to go, still a lot of positive things to take forward for Army.
Right, and certainly a lot of youth in this lineup for the Black Knights, as we see streaking down here is Nikea Comer. And it's eventually knocked out by Pietra Sweeney. Comer bringing some energy here to this Black Knight squad. But yeah, we talk about the youth. The leading attacker there, Aaron Johns, is only a sophomore. And they've got some other freshmen who have had big minutes. Keely Rosenberger, one of them.
And Casalia, if it starts with
That's
a
right.
solid goalkeeper, she's just a sophomore, so they have the beginnings of a strong foundation with Casalia and Johns, Torres anchoring that back line, along with Morgan Walsh, their leading scorer. So I think Army will be, they'll be featured. They'll be a force to be reckoned with in the Patriot League for the next few years. I wouldn't be surprised if you see them back wherever the Patriot League tournament's held in the coming years. Really good foundation for Adrian Blewett and his assistants to work with.
That's right, and Blewett has proven that he's able to do great things with a program like Army's. He turned around an Arkansas Little Rock program before coming here to Army West Point, but just hired a little bit less than a year ago, and already some signs that, like you said, he could have a solid tenure here in the position. Ball bounces back now. Pietra Sweeney heads it in towards the middle, but now it's sent down from Army West Point. Good defensive work once again. Terriers certainly have to be happy with the defensive performance they've put in today. Some may say Army didn't pose too much of a challenge, but in any game like this where the stakes are high, should be able to have a clean sheet at least through 80 minutes, but if things continue this way, it'll be 90. Certainly a solid accomplishment in itself.
Yeah, without a doubt, anytime you can hold a team in this league scoreless for the better part of 80 minutes, definitely something to hang your hat on. And it's really been strong from everyone, not just the defenders, not just the goalkeeper. Forwards have done a great job tracking back, and strong anchors in the midfield. So I think it's been a strong performance from BU entirely, and something Nancy Feldman can definitely be proud of her girls with.
And Marie Jaworski did a good job bodying the attacker there, but a foul is called. As Chloe Sagmo, the junior, now into the game in the midfield, just got a little bit too physical in the referee's eyes. And once again, it will be the senior captain, Sydney Witham, in what appears to be her final game in the Army Black. Certainly a career she can be proud of, though. The anchor of that defense. Long ball comes in towards the far post. Falls into a dangerous area, but no one there. The counter almost on for the Terriers, but solid defending to cut it out quickly. Pietra Sweeney's throw-in comes up towards Dory Varley-Barrett. Back to Sweeney with Comer in pursuit. Sweeney again, no choice but to put it out of bounds. That's Simone Gardner. Not sure I've ever commentated with another person named Gardner before on the field. No relation, obviously, but doing a job at right back now for Army West Point.
Keeping up the Gardner name, representing it well.
Sure. Now driving in here in a curled effort. And a dangerous skip there, but Messner able to take it in nicely.
Not so sure that was a shutter across from Johns. Just playing it low in, hoping for one of her forwards to kind of converge on the ball and get a touch on it. It was just too close to Messner, who comfortably handled it, which, you know, the surface probably still a little wet, although the rain has subsided for the most part, but having not touched the ball for most of the half, to get that first piece of action this late on, she did a good job of not giving up any rebounds.
Comer's touch just got away from her a little bit. Pietra Sweeney, who's done a great job all night and all season there on that left back position, handled it well. So just over 7 minutes remaining. Another change will be made as McKenna Kennedy, the goal scorer, makes way.
Lily Perryman coming on for the Terriers. Another freshman defender. Just getting a run out late in the game.
It's always good to see some youth getting involved late in these games, just getting some experience on a big stage like this one. Again, Perryman, one of those players that they'll be relying on in future years. Good to get her some early opportunities as a freshman. Here goes Comer. Good bit of pace on that right wing. And she's been lively since coming on as she tries to nutmeg Sweeney. But the senior well aware and gets all the way through now. Number 14, Rachel Kingston, trying to make something happen up top now. Varley Barrett still running here, more than 83 minutes in. Now it'll be chased into the back by Elle Conlon. It is just enough to keep it out of bounds for a BU goal kick. Well, as we've mentioned, after this game, be sure to stick around for the second semifinal matchup of Patriot League Women's Soccer. It'll be the Lehigh Mountain Hawks against the Colgate Raiders. Sure to be a good one, the 2 seed against the 5 seed. And who will be meeting BU in the final? That is the question. That one will kick off at 7:30. Once again on the Patriot League Network on Stadium. course, this is the season of championships as the fall season winds down. In field hockey, BU also making an impressive run. They'll be taking on American on Sunday, once again here on the BU campus. So lots of exciting events happening here in the area, finishing off Patriot League seasons.
We got a card coming here. Looks like for Army is, New Balance and Nickerson right here, not too far away. So it's been a good atmosphere here at BU this weekend with the semifinals today. 4 games over the 2 venues, and Championship Sunday should be fun with, the field hockey game at 2 o'clock and then the championship game here. Field hockey game at 12 o'clock, rather, the championship game at 2. So it should be a fun afternoon of glory for a pair of teams on Sunday.
The Patriots game at 8 o'clock at night. Sounds like a great Sunday for Bostonians.
Starting to get a little chippy out here late on.
Yeah, a little bit. Couldn't quite tell who the offender was there, but we now have a Black Knight on the floor. Just under 5 minutes as the clock has stopped, as it does. There's no injury time to be played. Not one of the rules here for Patriot League soccer, so instead the clock stops. One of the rare leagues that you see where there's no injury time whatsoever and the game comes to an end on a buzzer. It does shape up for some very tense final moments, though. As we've seen teams threaten close to the final buzzer there several times. Doesn't appear as though this game will be one of those, though.
BU dominating, outshooting Army 17-3. We haven't had many major chances to speak of, as happy to see. Looks like Morgan Walsh able to get up mostly on her own power with the assistance of the trainer. She looks to have maybe caught a high cleat to an ankle. She limps off.
So the game set to get back underway and finish off these final 5 minutes. Army just looking for a consolation goal at this point, as a comeback seems to be out of the realm of possibility.
Lily Perryman picked up a yellow card as Taylor Cofton's making way. She had an outstanding game. 2 assists, including a gorgeous ball. Both of them, both providing Shannon Keefe twice. The first one with a nicely weighted 3 ball. The second one I thought she did really well. Got by 2 defenders with a really good run and played it across the face to really put this game out of reach.
Sydney Witham's long ball was met by a Terrier head, and Dory Varley Barrett looking to spark the counter almost did as Nikea Comer tries to make something happen. To make a correction, that's Chloe Sagmo now working up top. Messner's ball forward now. Army trying to get something. It's headed away. The ball played back in. Pietra Sweeney, one of the few BU seniors and starters still on the pitch right now. One of the real anchors of that back line, helping guide some of the underclassmen who have come on as substitutes. As Sagmo plays it back. Now it's taken away by Hannah Wilcox, the senior. And a foul is called in a dangerous area here.
Good tracking back, however, from Wilcox. She a bit of a turnover there, but she was able to win back the ball initially before giving away the free kick. Army bringing everyone besides 1 or 2 women into the box for this. It's a good angle to be whipped in.
Ball comes in and it's on net as Messner almost gave it up, but she had to push it away for a corner kick.
Yeah, that's what happens when you don't get much action for most of the game. Not too confident with the gloves. Messner bobbled that and was just pushed behind for a corner. Crisis averted for now for BU, but not exactly the most confident goalkeeping I've seen, but it's understandable.
Wet conditions and a night in which he hasn't been called into action very often. As a high arcing ball comes in, and that went off target. So Messner able to let it go out of bounds and take the throw in, or the goal kick, I should say. Two and a half minutes remaining. Hardy fans who have stayed out here through wind and rain, just about to see their home team Terriers pull out a semifinal win. We hit the 2-minute mark. Anne-Marie Jaworski on that right side. Made a few dangerous runs, but has been asked to defend mostly here in the second half since coming on.
I think BU, no matter who they play between Lehigh and Colgate in the next game, should be favored, beat both of their potential opponents by a goal to nil.
Sagmo goes back to Jaworski. She'll clear it up. Another ball just to kill some time. Sends it into the corner. Casalia brings it into her own box. It was Kingston in pursuit. Casalia with another long punt. Sophomore was our player to watch tonight and couldn't really do too much about the 3 goals she conceded. Well-worked goals from the Terriers. But a strong senior campaign, or a sophomore campaign for Casalia.
Yeah, both goalkeepers, both young underclassmen, freshmen for BU, sophomore for Army. Both teams look to have found a goalkeeper for the future. There's a bit of a push there on Army as we are winding down here in game 1 of our doubleheader at Nickerson Field.
Just coming to the 30-second mark now. Terriers will likely see this one out. Or will they press for a 4th goal? Doesn't appear so, just launching it out of bounds. But that should just about wrap it up. 15 seconds left. Will Casalia try to launch it forward? Doesn't appear so.
Definitely a commendable performance by Army. The heavy underdogs coming in. Tried to defend with as much prowess and skill as they could. They did for the most of the first half, but BU's offense, too much.
So Boston University is moving on after a 3-0 victory over Army West Point. Goals coming from Shannon Keefe. 2 goals for her first 2 of the season. And then a penalty kick goal from McKenna Kennedy, her first of the season as well. And then, of course, Taylor Cofton putting together 2 assists, her first 2 assists of the season. So a game of first for the Terriers, but certainly not their first time reaching the conference final. They will be playing against the winner of tonight's matchup between Lehigh and Colgate later tonight. But that will conclude our coverage of the game. For Josh Rothstein, I'm Brady Gardner. Your final score, Boston University 3 and Army West Point 0.